will start with the aforementioned Aaron Rodgers. He's averaging 3 touchdowns a game, and this week he gets the Atlanta Falcons. So higher or lower than 2 passing touchdowns for A-Rod?
Oh, man, I thought you were going to put it at 3 so that we could do our star. But I'm going with 3 on this one, which is higher than. My projection for him is 272 passing yards and 3 touchdowns on Monday night against the Atlanta Falcons. I also have a really nice projection for Aaron Jones, if that helps you out as well. When you look to see what Aaron Rodgers has been doing, it's Allen Lazard, it's Davante Adams when he's playing. It's really anyone. Mercedes Lewis, I loved seeing a touchdown to him. It didn't really help anyone, but it was really interesting to see all of the different angles and the fact that he's not under pressure as much this season. I think 3rd least in the NFL. I didn't get a chance to update that after Monday Night Football, but 3rd least in the NFL. That's a huge difference maker in this one.
The annual Mercedes Lewis touchdown came early for us this year. Next up, Deshaun Watson. He's had 275 pass yards or fewer in every game this season. Now, the Vikings are giving up nearly 300 a game. So higher or lower to 280 passing yards for Watson this week?
Go with higher on this one. This is kind of the get-right game for me for the Texans. I have 287 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 21 rushing yards projected for Watson. Newsflash, he breaks into the top 5 amongst all quarterbacks for me. This week is an interesting situation with the Minnesota defense because you really haven't seen them be the defense that we're used to from Mike Zimmer. So I think this is going to be the opportunity for Watson to kind of show you what this entire offense can do.
Kenyon Drake's been very vocal on Twitter toward fantasy managers, but he's had fewer than 90 rushing yards in every game this season. He is at Carolina, the Panthers allowing 115 rush yards per game to running backs in 2020. Higher or lower than 89.5 rushing yards for Kenyon Drake?
Higher. I have 91 projected with 3 receptions and 12 receiving yards along with a rushing touchdown in this one for Drake. One of the ways that you get Kyler Murray to not throw interceptions, not throw the ball, you keep it on the ground. That's why there's 91 rushing yards projected. Keep it nice and even. Keep it nice and out of the potential for harm's way in this one. The get-right situation with the Panthers is going to be great for Kenyon Drake, who, by the way, I love when he tweets about how people can't say his name properly. That's his actual best tweet. That's his best stuff.
So far, this is a segment that Scott Stapp would love. Can you take me higher? We'll talk about Drake's former teammate Devontae Parker against the Seahawks, who are allowing 379 receiving yards a game to wideouts. So higher or lower than 80.5 receiving yards for Devontae Parker?
I'm not going to make him happy with the song, but I have lower than 80 receiving yards. I have 6 receptions, 71 yards, but he has a touchdown, so it's not like you're not getting the points you need. This is about 19.1 fantasy points projected for him in this one. Yes, Seattle's allowing the most receiving yards to wide receivers this season and 6 100-yard wideouts in 3 games this season. But remember, you got to spread it around. You got to keep it interesting. You got to figure out all the different tricks that you're going to have to figure out to keep scoring because Russell Wilson's not going to let up. He's not going to take his foot off the gas.
Absolutely. So this could be a high-scoring one there. So what about Allen Robinson? He went for $123 on Sunday. Now he gets the Colts, who give up 109 per game. Higher or lower than 75.5 receiving yards here?
Okay, Allen Robinson, my birthday twin, 7 receptions, 77 yards. That is higher than 75 receiving yards, and he gets the touchdown. The interesting thing about this one is that, yes, the Colts defense in terms of yards doesn't give up a ton of yards, but remember, people have not been able to really score against them, and it's all game script situations, right? When you play the Jets, it's not like that average goes into it and really makes you think, they played the Chiefs and held them to only 200 yards. That's a big deal here, right? So 7 and 77 with Nick Foles. I like it.
We'll stay in the division. TJ Hockenson has just 1 touchdown this season. Now he's facing the Saints, who've given up 4 touchdowns to tight ends this year. So higher or lower than half a touchdown for TJ Hockenson?
Well, we're all going to have to ice skate home because I'm saying something nice about the Lions. And I have a receiving touchdown projected for TJ Hockenson in this matchup. 5 receptions, 49 yards, and the touchdown, I think, to keep the pressure out of Matthew Stafford's way. This TJ Hockenson outlet is going to be a nice big body matchup. I know the Saints defense hasn't looked like the defense we've used to or we're expecting, at least from game 1, but they are still a very good defense and they will have a very strong plan for the Lions in Detroit. So don't expect them to get 17 catches for 2 touchdowns, but 1 touchdown for Hockenson.
All right, we'll end with another tight end. Zach Ertz going against the 49ers. Higher or lower than 4.5 receptions against the defense, allowing just under 2 catches a game to tight ends?
Oh man, we're going to end on a lower. I have 4 receptions, 41 yards, but the touchdown projected. Of course, Dallas Goedert is not playing, so this is the kind of tight end situation that we're looking for. Carson Wentz has been very turnover prone, and one of the ways to get rid of that is to create the right situation. And one of the most sure-handed receivers in this entire offense, Zach Ertz, maybe in the entire league, right? So this game script, this potential, what they're going to face with the 49ers is not as hard as it would have been if they were having their entire team playing, but it's still going to be a tough game, and they're going to need Ertz to keep Wentz from turning the ball over.
It has been frustrating for anyone who drafted Zach Ertz, but hopefully the touchdown can keep fantasy managers hanging on for at least another week. Thanks, Cynthia.